Hello everyone, welcome to our new lecture. Here we are going to study about applied history. In the previous lecture, we have completed the applied history and its perspective, which was related to different fields of knowledge. Okay, for example, philosophy, science, commerce, traditions, okay, and all that. Now, in this lecture, we are going to see how applied history is responsible in shaping our present and in shaping our future. Okay, so applied history and okay, so people often ask about the practical value of history. The answer to this question about the nature of applied history answers this question as well. The visible and invisible relics of past exist in the present. We nurture some kind of curiosity, attraction toward them. We wish to know more about their history because they represent the creative thoughts and traditions of our ancestors. It is our heritage. It helps in building our identity. The history of our heritage links us with our origin, hence it becomes necessary to preserve and conserve it for future, for our benefit as well as for the benefit of future generations. Applied history is concerned with the preservation and conservation of our heritage and make it accessible to people. Heritage management creates opportunities of employment. In brief, applied history can be described as understanding of our present with the help of history and finding right direction for the benefit of our future. Okay, so how applied history is useful? Okay, so there are lots of practical approaches, okay, in applied history. Okay, it is very much important to study applied history because it gives us the answer about different traditions, about the past, and about our own ancestors. Okay, so we have lots of monuments, we have lot of palaces. Okay, the palaces are there, the forts are there, and all this historical heritage, all these historical monuments and buildings are very much important to us because they gave us the answer, they gave us the knowledge about the ancient tradition, about the ancient time, okay, about the ancient dynasties. So the study of all these monuments and relics, okay, all this study is done under the branch called applied history. Okay, and also this applied history is the answer to our own curiosity. Okay, we have lots of curiosity, we are very much curious to know how particular dynasty was originated, how particular tradition originated. Okay, what was the main reason behind performing certain rituals or rites. Okay, or what was the reason behind all these wars which have taken place in the past. Okay, or we are so much curious to know everything which has taken place in the past, and the answer is given by applied history to all these questions. Okay, also applied history provides the employment. And how does it provides the employment? So we get the answers, okay, by studying the monuments, artifacts, relics. Okay, and it is very much important to preserve all these monuments, all these relics and artifacts, all these historical heritages. Okay, and definitely if we want to preserve it, we need people, we need labor which is going to preserve these artifacts and heritages. Okay, also we want to propagate the tradition, the culture of our own country or the culture of our own region. Okay, so if we want to propagate anything, definitely we have to introduce, we have to improve the tourism, and for improving the tourism also we need people. Okay, we need employers. So applied history is also providing employment. Okay, and this applied history is very much important because we want to preserve all these heritages. Okay, we want to preserve and we want to gain lot of information from all these heritages so that this information can be used by our future generation. Okay, now management of cultural and natural heritage. So whatever natural heritage we have or cultural heritage we have, how we should manage them, how we should preserve them, how we should treat all this heritage. Okay, let us see that. Now the cultural heritage, it is in the form of human creation. It is of two types, tangible and intangible. So cultural heritage, okay, it is categorized as tangible heritage or intangible heritage. Okay, so what is tangible cultural heritage? This type of cultural heritage includes ancient sites, buildings, artifacts, manuscripts, sculptures, paintings, etc. So all these important artifacts or all these important relics, okay, for example, ancient sites, okay, so ancient buildings or ancient monuments or ancient forts, okay, then for example ancient site like Harappa or Dhulavira or Mehergarh, okay, all these sites are important, okay. Then buildings are important, for example Harappan buildings or Qutub Minar, take an example of Red Fort, all these buildings are also important. Then artifacts are important, manuscripts are important, okay. Then sculptures are important, and all the paintings, okay, it may be cave painting or paintings done by different personalities, okay, or paintings of the kings and queens, okay, which were done by the ancient artist, okay, all these are categorized in tangible cultural heritage, okay. Now, intangible cultural heritage. This type of cultural heritage includes the following things. And what are included? Oral traditions and their language, then traditional knowledge, social customs and rituals of celebrating festivals, then styles of performing arts, certain traditional skills, then communities, groups who represent such traditions, customs, and skills. All these are categorized in intangible cultural heritage. Okay. Now let us see about natural heritage. So the concept of natural heritage gives importance to the thought of biodiversity. So definitely the term natural is related to the term biodiversity. Okay. And we should be proud that our own country India is very much rich considering the biodiversity, considering the floral and faunal diversity of our country. It includes the following things. Okay, what is included in natural heritage? Fauna, okay, then flora, ecology, and geomorphic characteristics, which is crucial for sustaining the flora and fauna of a particular region. So fauna, that is nothing but animals, okay, birds and animals. Flora, which is nothing but plants, okay. And the ecology or the environment or the ecosystem, okay, these are important and crucial, okay, for the natural heritage, considering the natural heritage, okay. Now it is essential for the benefit of future generations to preserve our heritage, okay. We have to preserve our heritage for the future generation, okay, so that they will have a good life, so that they will have a good amount of knowledge about the ancient traditions and the past events, okay. So there is one organization which is a very big organization, very famous organization, that is UNESCO, United Nations Educational, Social and Cultural Organization, UNESCO. So it is the global organization which has announced some directives with the objective of promoting the cultural and natural heritage. Okay. So this organization looks after the natural and cultural heritage of the world. Okay. It aims to preserve all this heritage. Okay. On the basis of those directives, list of sites and traditions are declared as World Heritage. So this organization declares some of the sites, okay, as World Heritage. Okay, they consider that all these sites are very much important for the world history, for the future generation. Okay, so they declare such sites, okay, which are very much important for the mankind as a World Heritage. Okay. So the list of UNESCO's World Natural Heritage now includes Western Ghats, okay. So definitely Western Ghats, okay, which is along the Maharashtra and Andhra Pradesh coastal area. Then the Khas Plateau in the district Satara, okay, which is in our own state Maharashtra, and also the past part of Western Ghats, okay. So let us see the Indian traditions declared as oral and intangible heritage. So what are the Indian traditions which are intangible heritage? Okay. So in 2001, Kutiyattam, okay, which is a Sanskrit theatre in Kerala, it has been declared as intangible heritage. Then in 2003, the tradition of Vedic chanting. In 2005, Ram Leela, okay, the traditional performance of the Ramayana in Uttar Pradesh. It is also an intangible heritage. Okay, it shows the tradition, it shows the culture of our own country, India. Then 2009, Raman. Okay, it is a religious festival and ritual theater of the Garhwal. Okay, in Himalayas. Then in 2010, Kalbelia. Okay, that is a folk songs and dances of Rajasthan. Okay, it is also an intangible heritage. In 2010, Chow dance. Okay, which you will see in Eastern India. Okay, it is also a intangible tradition, intangible heritage. In 2010, Mudiyat, a ritual theatre of Kerala. Then in 2012, Buddhist chanting of Ladakh. Then recitation of sacred Buddhist text in the Trans-Himalayan Ladakh region. Okay, which is in north of Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, now Ladakh is also a union territory. In 2013, Sankirtana, that is ritual singing, drumming and dancing, okay, in Manipur. It is also a intangible heritage. In 2014, traditional craft of making utensils of brass and copper among the Thateras of Jandiala Guru in Punjab. And in 2016, okay, one of the important, that is yoga. Okay, it was declared as intangible heritage. Okay, yoga. Okay, now let us see what are the world cultural heritage sites, okay, in India. Okay, which are that? So in 1983, Agra Fort was discovered as World Heritage Site. Then Ajanta Caves, okay, it is in Maharashtra. Then Verul or Ellora Caves, okay, it is also in Maharashtra. Then Taj Mahal, group of monuments at Mahabalipuram, okay, these are also very famous. Then Sun Temple, Surya Mandir, okay, in Konark. Then churches and convents of Goa. Fatehpur Sikri, okay, in 1986, it was discovered, it was declared as World Heritage Site. Then again in 1986, group of monuments at Hampi, okay, a very famous place also, it is in Madhya Pradesh. Then in 1986, Khajuraho group of monuments also are declared as World Cultural Heritage Sites. Then Elephanta Caves in 1987. Okay, the list is very much big. So this shows how rich we are considering the heritage. Okay, India is very much rich considering all the perspectives. Okay, so in 1987, Great Living Chola temples, then Gangai Kond Cholapuram, okay, which is in Brihadeshwar, and Airavateshwar at Darasuram. Then in 1987, group of monuments at Pattadakal, okay. Then 1989, Buddhist monuments at Sachi, okay, which was built under the reign of Emperor Ashoka. Okay, then Humayun's tomb, which is in Delhi. Okay, Humayun, the second king or the emperor of the Mughal Empire. Then Qutub Minar and its monuments, which are in Delhi. Then Mountain Railways of India. Now, these are also very much famous, and they have been declared as World Heritage Site. Okay, so there are three mountain railways. Okay, that is Darjeeling Himalayan Railway, Nilgiri Mountain Railway, and the Kalka Shimla Railway. Then Mahabodhi Temple Complex at Bodh Gaya. Then rock shelters at Bhimbetka, Champaner Pavagadh. It is an archaeological park. Okay. Then Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Terminus. Okay, in Mumbai. We all know this place. Okay. It is also a World Heritage Site. Then Red Fort Complex in Delhi. The Jantar Mantar in Jaipur. Then Hill Forts of Rajasthan and Rani Ki Vav. Okay, which is in Gujarat at Patan. In English, we call it as the Queen's Step Well. Okay. Then archaeological site of Nalanda, Mahavira, Nalanda University. Okay. Considered to be one of the most iconic university in the ancient era. Okay. Nalanda University, which is in Bihar. Then the capital complex at Chandigarh. And again, Ahmedabad. Okay. A city in Gujarat. It is also declared as a historical city. Now, World Natural Heritage Site, which are there in India. So Kaziranga National Park, okay, famous for the rhinoceros. Then Keoladeo National Park, then Manas Wildlife Sanctuary, Sundarbans National Park, famous for wild tigers. The Nanda Devi and Valley of Flowers, the national parks in 2005, Western Ghats, which were declared World Natural Heritage Sites in 2012. Then in 2014, Great Himalayan National Park and Conservation Area. So in 2016, Kanchenjunga National Park is also declared as World Natural Heritage Site. Okay. Now let us see some of these sites. Okay, let us try to understand all these sites properly. Now, cultural and natural heritage management is one of the main aspects of applied history. Okay, it is an important aspect of applied history. The work of conservation and preservation of the cultural heritage falls under the jurisdiction of the Archaeological Survey of India and India's state departments of archaeology. So these are the two departments which are responsible, okay, in preservation and conservation of the cultural heritage. Okay, what are those? They are Archaeological Survey of India and India's state departments of archaeology. Beside INTAC, that is Indian National Trust for Art and Cultural Heritage, is actively working in this field. Okay, the work of conservation and preservation of cultural and natural heritage requires participation of experts from various fields. Definitely, we need experts. Okay, we need historians, we need archaeologists who are very much experienced people. Okay, so that they can give 100% in conservation and preservation of all these cultural and natural heritage sites. Okay, they need to be duly aware of the cultural, social, and political histories of the heritage site, and the principles of applied history are useful in creating the awareness among them. So definitely, if we want to preserve the historical site, we must have the knowledge of history, and this knowledge of history is provided by the field of applied history. Okay, thus the operations necessary for conservation, preservation, and development of the heritage site can be handled without causing any change in its original site. Okay, so when we are preserving or conserving these natural heritage sites or cultural heritage site, we have to make sure that we should not harm these sites at any cost. Okay, we must not change anything in this site. We must try to keep it more real, more actual, okay, and more in a proper condition state. The local social structure and psychology of the local people, challenges faced by them in the present situations, and their expectations can be surveyed in detail. Then third, due precautions can be taken to avoid hurting sentiments of the local, okay, people while completing the projects of conservation, preservation, and development of a heritage site. Now, lots of heritage sites are sacred places, okay, and they are very much important for the local people. So for other people or the people which are living in urban areas, okay, they may consider all this site as a tourism site or also as a tourist site. But for the local people, they are more important. Okay, they consider all these site as a sacred sites. Okay, they consider and they respect all these sites. So we have to make sure that while conserving and preserving this site, we must not hurt the feelings, the sentiments of the local people. Okay, the participation of the local people in the project can be facilitated. Okay, so if we are trying to conserve any historical site, we must take help of the local people because they have a very good idea of the area. They know what are the traditions and what are the do's and don'ts for that particular site. Okay, then the systematic plan can be designed to employ the local skills in a creative way and create better opportunities of livelihood. So whenever we are going to conserve or preserve any of the site, we have to be systematic, we have to plan the conservation properly, and then we have to apply that plan. And definitely when we are going to conserve or preserve, we need labor, we need employees. Okay, so that is going to give us an opportunity of employment and livelihood for the local people also. Okay, now, what are the affiliated professional fields in the field of applied history? The knowledge of history can be supportive in the decision making with regard to respective legal provisions and public policies in the following fields. Okay, So these are some fields which are going to provide the knowledge of history to us. So museums and archives definitely one of the main source of history. Then preservation and conservation of historical site is important. Then tourism and hospitality. Okay, we go to different places. We try to observe them. Okay, we try to understand how it was made or why it was made. Okay, which increase our knowledge of history. Then entertainment and mass media. Okay, these are also equally important. Okay, considering the spread of history. Okay, so you will see that lots of movies are being made on the historical events, and definitely all these movies are going to provide us the knowledge about the history or about the past event. For example, Tanaji. Okay, it has given us the knowledge how the war was fought between a particular Maratha warrior and another man or another evil man. Okay, which was fighting from the Mughal side. So all this knowledge is definitely gained by this particular field, which is an entertainment and mass media field. Okay, now do you know the earliest museum, okay, in the 6th century BCE in this world was discovered during the excavations at the city of Ur in Mesopotamia. Okay, one of the most important historical place. Okay, Mesopotamia. So in this place we have found the most earliest museum. Okay, the excavations were conducted by Sir Leonard Woolley. Who had conducted the excavation? Sir Leonard Woolley. Okay, this museum was built by the Princess of Mesopotamia, Potamia, Potamia. So, who had constructed or on whose order the museum was constructed? It was constructed on the order of the Princess of Mesopotamia. Okay, her name was Enigaldi. What is the name of the princess? The name of the princess was Enigaldi. She herself was the curator of the museum. She was the curator of the museum. So this shows that she was very much interested in studying history. A noteworthy feature of that museum is the clay tablets inscribed with the descriptions of exhibited artifacts. Okay, so in the museum you will see there are certain tablets, there are certain artifacts where you will see the information about different historical equipments or instrument was written, okay, or was inscribed. Now, do you know the Indian Museum at Kolkata was founded by the Asiatic Society in 1814 CE, that is Common Era. Nathaniel Wallich, a Danish botanist, was the founder and the first curator of the museum. Who was the first curator and founder of this museum? The first curator was Nathaniel Wallich, a Danish botanist. The photograph of the museum seen here is dated to 1905. So this photo is taken in the year 1905. Okay. The museum has three main departments, that is arts, archaeology and anthropology. Other affiliated departments are conservation, publication, photography, exhibition presentation, model making, training, library and security. These are other departments in the museum. Now, every field mentioned here requires expert personnel and with specialized skills. For example, architects, engineers, historians, archaeologists, museum curators, sociologists, archive management professionals, legal experts, skilled photographers, etc. etc. Of course, this is just a representative list. The help of experts from many more fields is required. These experts need to have adequate knowledge of the ancient sites, the historical background of the structural remains and artifacts. Projects in the field of applied history can create various opportunities for these professionals. In this lesson, we learned about the role of applied history in the public training programs for understanding the importance of history, for creating social awareness regarding the conservation, preservation of our cultural and natural heritage, using knowledge of history for this purpose to enhance the professional skills of people and to develop industrial commercial field to carry out preparatory work and plan for effective implementation of heritage projects, etc. It is essential to avoid vandalizing of historic and public places and to ensure that they are preserved for the benefit of future generations. So what we have studied actually in this particular chapter, we have studied that all these artifacts, all these historical sites, places, cultural heritage sites or natural heritage sites are responsible, okay, to understand the ancient event, to understand the past event, and they are also important to study the history in detail. Okay, now all these study is categorized as applied history. So applied history is very much important considering the study of past event, and also this applied history is the source of employment to a greater extent. Okay, we need people to conserve the sites, we need people to study the sites, we need people to explain all these details to common people. Okay, so that means a very large employment is provided by this field, okay, which is called as applied history. Okay, and we have to preserve all these monuments and all these historical sites. And what is the reason behind preserving them? So that our future generation will also enjoy all this tradition, will also get all this knowledge, okay, from all these historical sites and monuments. Okay, so by this we have completed our chapter number 3, that is applied history. Your homework will be you have to complete the exercise of this particular chapter. Now, in the next lecture, we will study another chapter from the same subject. Until then, goodbye.